love lives here.
So welcome to the third Sunday in January here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, where we know that love lives here. And this year at Centers for Spiritual Living, we're working with the theme of living everyday wonder. And especially this month, we are really focusing on this theme because we're setting the foundation for the year, because it's for the rest of the year, what we are going to be looking at and exploring is 11 different aspects of our lives and how we can bring wonder and how we can experience wonder and joy and passion and love, etc., in our everyday lives in these specific areas, right? Because we're complex people. We have complex lives. We're multifaceted like a diamond. Now all of a sudden I have that song in my head. Okay. Love where my brain just takes me every once in a while, it's along for the ride. So I guess I'm going to be curious about that today, because that's really what we're talking about, is being in the now and embracing the now. So today's theme is embrace the now and being fully present to what is happening and what is occurring in the now, like, diamonds in the sky happening in my head at the moment, singing it along. I'm not going to sing it out loud. I will spare you. So last week we were talking about, if we aren't paying attention, if we're not really engaged in life, are we really living? That we're just kind of existing, right? That we're just kind of there. So Paulo Coelho, the author of The Alchemist, puts it this way. I love how he says this. He says, when each day is the same as the next, it is because people fail to recognize the good things that are happening in their lives every day the sun rises. When every day seems the same as the next or the same as the one before, it's because we're failing to pay attention to the good things that are happening to us every day that the sun arises. And so we were talking about being in that humdrum, being on that autopilot the entire time, and like, how in the heck did I get to the center this morning? I don't remember the drive, right? This morning I paid attention, though. I saw the palm trees along the way, and I saw the snow on the mountains, and I was paying attention that I turned onto 13th Street rather than going forward this morning. So I was paying attention, so it wasn't happening on autopilot. But how often are we just on that autopilot, right? And so when we think about this, and, we talked about it last week and we touched on it, that if we're not paying attention to our lives, we're not really living. If we're not fully in the moment, if we're not fully in the present, paying attention to what's going on around us, we're not really living. We're just existing, perhaps. Our bodies are functioning, but, where are we? Where are we, our consciousness, where are we really at, right? And so the author of the book, What's in the Way is the Way, Mary O'Malley, I've mentioned her a couple times last year, and I'm talking about her again today, or I'm sharing with her again today, or with you about her again today. What she says about curiosity is the act of bringing your attention in the now moment, bringing your attention to your immediate experience. It is about bringing your attention to your immediate experience. And when we bring our attention to our immediate experience, then we make contact with life. First contact, perhaps, but we make contact with life. When we bring our attention to the now moment, all of a sudden, because what it is the now moment is the only moment there ever is. Right? It's the eternal moment. It's the ever-present moment. So if we're not embracing the now, if we're not being fully present in the now, we're not really living. We're not making contact with life, and we're just kind of bleh, a blob, a flesh suit, whatever, right? So the opportunity is to make contact with life by bringing your attention to what is happening in the now. And when we bring our attention to what is happening in the now, or the now experience, the immediate experience, right this very moment, when we do that, then all of a sudden, we begin to notice all these other things happening around us. We begin to notice greater possibilities. Greater possibilities exist because now we're paying attention and we're awake, we're aware, we're alive, right? So, I've also shared with you that all this year we are giving you practical tools. Allison, you ready? Here's practical tool number 1. Here we go. Practical tool number 1, simply notice. Well, that was simple. Simply notice. So what does that mean, simply notice? Let's just take a moment. Let's do this together. This transformation tool, this little practice together. Let's just do it together, right? Don't have to do anything except simply notice what's happening in this moment. Notice what you're seeing. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the feeling in your body. Notice Coco walking back and forth, trying to get comfortable. Notice the laughter. Just simply notice. And whatever you're noticing there at home, just simply notice your environment around you at home. Simply notice. Notice how perfect it is. Notice that in this moment, there is nothing that needs to be changed, altered. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. It just simply is the present now moment. And notice the expansion that's happening. Notice that as you're noticing, there's more to notice. This, my friends, is making contact with life because we're making contact with the now moment. Our attention is right here and right now. How often is it that we are living into the future or we're living in the past? And actually, we're not living in either place because we can't live in either place unless we figure out how to bilocate or, something somewhere at some point, right? We can't live in the future. We can't live in the past. Our thoughts can be in the future. Our thoughts can be in the past, but we live in the present. We live in the here and now. So, if I'm sitting here thinking and dwelling like, I put together that PowerPoint and it was really beautiful, and now somebody wants to add a stupid picture to it against my will. I'm like, really? It was branded, it was perfect, and I have no control over it. So now what am I doing? I am ruminating on what happened, and I'm making up a story about it, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till I see that person next week. Because let me tell you, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. Who do they think they are? Changing my work? No, right? So where am I at? I'm projecting in the past. I'm projecting a story. I'm projecting all my crud onto this poor person who is just doing the best that they can. God bless them. And then I'm also looking forward going, right? Planning and plotting, and really, what difference does it make? And if I'm in the past or I'm in the future and I'm not just being fully present with what I'm experiencing right here and now, I'm losing out on being with all of you. I'm losing out on being in this glorious experience of this day that's going to be 75 degrees. I'm losing out on the sun streaming in behind me. I'm losing out on so much because I'm not fully paying attention. And I'm identifying with condition. I'm identifying with a feeling. I'm identifying with a sensation, perhaps. And what I've done is I've given myself, it's a case of mistaken identity. I've identified as I am that thing. I identified as I am that feeling. I identified that I am that thought. We've been conditioned to identify with our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, and live as though that is who we are, yeah? Right? We say it in language all the time. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm angry. I am, and then there it is, right? And so we affirm it, right? And so if we say, I'm tired, well, how do you feel when you say, I'm tired? Just say it in your head to yourself. I'm tired. Or say it out loud, whatever. I'm tired. How does that make you feel? Tired. I'm overwhelmed. Oh gosh, the anxiety is kicking in already, right? Or whatever. I'm overwhelmed, right? I'm angry, right? So we begin to identify this, but what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we are experiencing isn't us. It's not the who of who we are. The who of who we are is the consciousness, is the observer that is able to observe what it is that we are thinking, feeling, experiencing. And so we've misidentified. And so when we misidentify it, the mistaken identity, would we have done that, then we look out into the world and we're like, oh no, I need to change this. I need to make this different. This cannot be. This is not okay. Or we look out into the world and it's like, oh, I just want to keep things the way they are. We're going really well right now. I don't want to screw this up. I don't want to, in Hawaii, bachi it, call bad karma to it. I don't want to put it out there that, ooh, right? I don't want to do that. So I want to stay right here where it's happy and joyful and yay, rainbows and ponies and unicorns. Because that's what I'm experiencing right now. So I want to keep that with me. I want to keep that. I want to hold on to that. So then what we're doing is that we are identifying with the experience. We are trying to control life. We're trying to control the experience rather than just experiencing the experience to experience the experience. Right? Rather than just being with what is. Because imagine what it would be like to be with what is. Imagine if you were just being present, just being in the now, just going, okay, interesting, okay, warm, okay, different. If you were just being present with what is, rather than trying to change it or manipulate it or force it to be any other way, and appreciate it for what it is and learn from it for what is available to us in that moment. Imagine how life might be different. One second. Just listening, being present with what is. Hearing the sound of the cell phone ringing, being present with that too. There's no need to change it. There's no need to make it any different. It just is. It just is. As Einstein says, we cannot have a solution, we cannot create a solution or find a solution to a problem with the same level of consciousness that created it, right? So how about instead of trying to change the situation, how about we open up and we begin to alter how we change, how we're talking about it, how we're thinking about it, how we're experiencing it? Why don't we use our mind that way? So for example, I'm tired, right? Think of how we shift it as like, I'm feeling tired. It's an observation. I'm feeling tired. Not I am tired. I'm feeling tired. Or, I'm experiencing some tiredness. Notice how that shifts the energy of that. Or how about, the tired parts of me are visiting right now. See how we've taken that consciousness and we've shifted from I'm tired and feel the heaviness of that to I'm feeling tired, which is an experience. Okay, I'm observing that, to I'm being present with the experience of tiredness, or the tired parts of me are visiting right now. Notice what happens there? All of a sudden, we're no longer identifying, we're no longer reifying, we're no longer making real the tiredness and, continuing to do this spiral with being tired. What we've now come to realize is like, oh, wait a minute, I'm experiencing that, or the tired parts of me are with me right now. But guess what? It's just like the weather. In a few moments, it's going to change. The cloud is going to pass, or the rain is going to let up, or what have you. It's going to pass. So what I know is that this moment, this thing that I am experiencing, good or otherwise, is simply come to pass, meaning that it will pass, but I'm observing of it. And so when I just observe that, oh, this is temporary, this is just a condition, and I'm observing it, then I can relate to it rather than relating from it. I relate to the experience, and then I can be curious about the experience. And I was like, I wonder what that is. What does that sensation really feel like? And we can explore it. And when we begin to explore it with the curiosity that Mary O'Malley is talking about, that curiosity of bringing our attention or awareness to the present moment, when we begin to experience that curiosity, then greater possibilities open up to us. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, I'm not feeling as tired because I recognize that this tiredness is actually going to pass at some point. And so I recognize that, maybe it's time for me to go take a nap, or maybe it's time for me to go to sleep, but, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel refreshed and all is well. That, I'm not feeling as tired, or I'm not feeling as heavy, because I recognize I've interrupted that pattern in my head, that I'm no longer identifying myself as that. I'm no longer trying to change it. I'm no longer trying to plow through to make something different. I'm no longer trying to do that. But instead, I'm like just being present with what is. And so there's more possibility. There's more spaciousness for me to experience whatever it is that I'm experiencing without having to fight it or resist it. Because frequently, once we recognize something, we want to resist, or we want to, as I mentioned, keep it going. Right? So we have this opportunity, really, with curiosity, of embracing the now and appreciating what is. And then when we are present with that, things open in greater and greater and greater ways. What we have the opportunity to do is we have the opportunity to turn toward our challenges, or turn toward the conditions, and then be present with the conditions, or be present with the challenges, and then allow the challenges or the conditions or whatever it is to reveal a greater wisdom, a greater truth. This is what Mary O'Malley calls noticing, meaning that you are experiencing a deeper knowing by noticing what is in front of you, whatever the challenge is or whatever the experience is. And so then that noticing, and she combines the two words, so she spells noticing, Knowticing, noticing. What we're then noticing is being present, then we have this greater ability to have this greater wisdom. And you're saying, Reverend Jeffrey, you're telling me now to turn toward the challenge. You're telling me to turn toward the condition. Don't we teach that we turn away from the condition here at Centers for Spiritual Living? Don't we teach that we turn away from it, that we can control the conditions with the power of our mind? Isn't that what we teach? You're letting me know that something else is coming. Yes, absolutely. And we're just skimming the surface if we're thinking that, if we're just looking at that, taking that at face value, because we know that there's really a deeper meaning. Yeah? All right. So if we actually face the challenge, we face the problem, we face that, and we become curious about it, we become fully present with it, and then we become curious about it and just like look at it and become curious about whatever it is, then it can reveal itself in deeper ways. So we're turning toward it. We're not turning toward the problem. We're not turning toward the condition like we're saying, oh, I'm tired, and then making up stories about it. Because the minute we turn toward it with curiosity, we bring ourselves to the present. In that very moment, we are interrupting the story, we're interrupting the pattern, and we're able to see it from a new light. So we're able to sit with it in curiosity, go like, well, that's really curious. I'm curious about this. What's here for me right now? What deeper knowledge is wanting to come forth? What's wanting to be revealed in this moment? When we bring our attention to that, then what it is that we're doing, we are using our mind, not just this mind, but we're using our consciousness, we are bringing our consciousness to bear to recognize that there is this challenge and that there is an elegant solution, because the universe is always for us, never against us. That there is a more elegant solution than I might be able to think of. But the way I can access it is I've got to be open and available to it and create that more spaciousness. And I do that by being in the present. I do that by being in the here and now, by bringing my attention to what is rather than trying to focus on what I might want it to be somewhere down the line. Yeah? So can we control conditions through the power of our mind? Absolutely. But the way we control conditions through the power of our mind is that we no longer give power to the condition. When we're turning away from the condition, what it really means when we're turning away from the condition is that we're no longer giving the condition power over us. We're no longer saying that, yes, I'm being controlled by this power. Yes, I'm being controlled by this condition. Yes, I'm being controlled by this challenge. This is the focus. This is where I'm at, and I'm being controlled by it, and there's nothing I can do about it. There is something we can do, right? And that is opening to the spaciousness by being present with it, by shifting our consciousness around it, by fully being open and available to it and allow it to teach us, allow it to present itself to us, a greater, more elegant solution than what has already been. So this is turning toward it and then being curious about it rather than trying to turn away from it. What it is saying is that it's coming to the point with the condition or the challenge that thou couldst have no power over me unless it was given thee of God. Therefore, none of these things come nigh my dwelling place. This cannot be. This has no power over me. And so that is the shift. That is the change in consciousness, because we are looking at this issue or whatever it is that's in front of us, and we are seeing past it, we're seeing through it, we're seeing above it to the truth behind it, that it has no power over us. It has no way of controlling us. It has no power. There is only how many powers? One power. The divine. So the condition itself, the effect itself, has no power. That is the consciousness that is necessary then to change anything. Because when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we bring our consciousness to it and we see that this problem, this challenge has no power over me, and I bring my consciousness and my awareness to it, then it can't harm me. No harm can come to me. Nothing can hurt me. There cannot be, because who am I really? I am the consciousness. I am the observer. I am not this experience. I am not this story. I am not this feeling. I am not this thought. I am the observer. I am the consciousness. I am not this. I know that was a lot. Breathe it in. Right? On the surface, we would say we change conditions through the power of our mind. And yes, that's true. On the surface level, we do that through our affirmations, through affirmative prayer, etc. We can do that. We do that. That's the mental science piece. That's the mental piece. What I'm sharing with you today is beyond that. It's beyond just the mental. This is where it becomes science of mind and spirit. We're going into a deeper understanding of what it really means to turn away from a condition, what it really means to control a condition through the power of the mind, through the power of the consciousness. It's not really about controlling it. It's not really about shifting it. It's about being present with it and allowing the consciousness that is, the consciousness that you and I are, to shift things as it need be. And how do we get there? In the now. By embracing the now. This doesn't happen when we're ruminating and projecting into the future, where, drudging up past wounds and past hurts when we're living in the past. It doesn't happen then. It doesn't happen in the future. It can only happen here and now. This is what it means to open and be curious, to be present with what is in this moment, and to be attentive to it, and to be right here with it, right where we are. So one way that you can practice this as you go home. So here's another tool for transformation. I've already given you two. I just didn't call the second one out, but I've already given you two. So here's a third way that you can practice the tool for transformation, because what we're really talking about here, when we are bringing our attention to the present moment and to our present moment experiences, we're really talking about mindfulness. This is really a definition of mindfulness, which is a Buddhist practice. And there's a Buddhist axiom that says that joy is happening right now. Joy is what is happening minus our opinion of it. Joy is what's happening minus our opinion of it, right? So this is a beautiful practice. It's called the body scan. And what the body scan is you can start with your feet and work your way up to your head, or you can work from your head all the way down, whichever way you want to move it. But you just sit quietly and allow your eyes to close, and then you just do a body scan, starting with your feet. Again, it's simply noticing. Notice what you're noticing. And you move from your feet. Now, I'm just kind of walking you through it, but it's usually you want to spend about 15 minutes in practice. Move from your feet to your ankles, through your legs, your knees, up to your hips. Move into your abdomen. Move into your chest. Move out your arms down all the way to your fingertips. Then resume with the torso, bringing your awareness up through your neck, through your head, and off the top of your scalp. And just notice what you notice. Notice your breathing. Notice your body sensations. Is it tingly? Is it prickly? Is it soft? Am I constricted in anywhere? Am I holding my breath? Am I experiencing more freedom of movement in that area of my body? But you just simply sit quietly and notice your body. Just simply notice. And you don't need to change anything as you're doing it. You're simply noticing your physical being. And this is the body scan. This is one of the basic tools of mindfulness meditation. It's just simply noticing your body as it is, its position in space, etc. You can also do the same thing with your thoughts. Just simply notice them. You don't have to change them. You don't have to do anything about them. Just simply notice them. Or you can do it with your feelings or any other sensations. What you're doing in that moment is you're embracing the now. You're being curious. You're bringing your attention to the now moment, using your body as the vehicle to do that. And as we were talking about before, when you embrace the now, you make contact with life, meaning you're making contact with the divine of your being, the divine of your inner understanding. Okay? So we have 3 tools this week for you to go home and practice with, yes? To embrace the now. You remember what they are? I hope you do, because I don't. No, I do. All right, so your 3 tools for transformation this week. Simply notice. As you're sitting in your room, as you're sitting wherever you are, simply notice what's going on around you. Simply notice your being. Simply take in your environment. Don't need to change it. Just simply notice. And notice that you notice that you notice more. The more you notice, the more there is to notice. The second one is a reframing, what we just talked about a few moments ago, where catch yourself and reframe it from, I'm tired, to, the parts of me that are tired are visiting, right? Or I'm experiencing the parts of me that are tired, where it's just an observation. So reframe it. I'm angry. I'm feeling anger. There is a part of me that is angry right now, and it's visiting me right now. And so simply reframe. So that's tool number 2, is a reframing, taking it from I am, where you're identifying with it, getting down, getting dirty with it, where you're identifying it, to bringing in your observer and going, isn't that interesting? So it's a reframing. And then the third tool for transformation this week is the body scan. Just starting with your feet and working all the way up through your head, and just simply notice what you notice, being present with what is, not needing to change it, making contact with the now. All right? So, my beloveds, if we want to make contact with life, we have to embrace the now. Embrace the now. And so it is. All right, so I invite our practitioners and our ministers and our core council members to please stand and surround the sanctuary, and Casey and Wayne are joining us this morning as well, with their fabulous stoles from East Hawaii. So, yes. And practitioner Coco is joining us as well. There's no greater practitioner than a dog or a cat, right? They're going to keep you honest, aren't they? I was thinking about it, it's like, why don't we all be the people we think our dogs are, that our dogs think we are, All right. So let's just come together in consciousness right here and right now. I recognize that there just is this one power. There is no other power opposed to it, standing in front of it, standing in the way of it. There simply is just this one power, living, moving, breathing, being, and expressing in through it as all life and as all creation. And this one power is love. It is the infinite, unconditional love of spirit that is forever pouring itself into this realm of existence, forever expressing itself as each one gathered here this day. It is forever expressing itself as all of life, as all of creation. And it is the one peace that passes all understanding. It is the one divine wisdom that is in the mind of each and every one. It is that love intelligence that simply is all that there is. And I recognize that this is the very who of who I am, that I am one with the Spirit. I am one with love. I am one with the divine power. And so therefore I know that the conditions of this world have no power over me, because I recognize that I am that I am. I recognize that I am the embodiment of the divine. And so nothing opposed to the divine could ever come nigh my dwelling place, because there is nothing really opposed to the one life, to the one love. There's nothing that could stand in the way and hinder it. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of everyone gathered here this day. So I speak this word for this beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, that we live in the now moment, that we make contact with life itself, that we are living life itself. We are awake and aware and available to life, for life to use each one of us as it sees fit, to share and to love and to express even greater joy than ever before. And I know that for each one of us, that there is a wholeness, a completeness that is spirit, that is forever expressing itself through and as each one of us. And we simply open ourselves up and become more aware. We become more fully in the present, and we align with spirit. We make contact with it, and we become even more aware of spirit expressing in the world. And we have a sense of greater connection with spirit and with one another and with all of life, with all of creation. And how wonderful it is to know this right here and right now. And I speak a word of blessing for all those who are attending the convention, the Centers for Spiritual Living convention next week in Indian Wells, recognizing that spirit is the action and activity right there too, and that there is the wholeness and perfection that is happening there too. So I know that they are divinely guided, they are divinely guarded, they are divinely protected and governed as they gather in Indian Wells safely, held in love, held in life that is the one life, the one love. And so I give thanks for all of this. I give thanks for this right here and right now, knowing that it is already done, it is already complete. And so I just simply release it into the divine law, assured of its fulfillment, because it already is so. And so it is.
Love